What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to today's transfer news roundup. As always, I've gone through the media, the newspapers, and the internet to try to find you guys the best stories surrounding our football club. Asking you, of course, to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, and most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So the first story I'm going to bring to you guys today, and I am going to move through these because we've quite a few stories, is not so much about a transfer, but more about a rule change. So the Saudi Pro League, according to Ben Jacobs, are about to change the rule that limits the amount of overseas or foreign players they can have. As an example, Al Ittihad, who are one of the clubs very interested in trying to sign Mohamed Salah next summer, they have 10 foreigners at the minute, meaning they couldn't register Jota and I think one other signing. So they're looking to change that rule to allow more foreign players in because they're one of the clubs, of course, as I mentioned, interested in signing Mo. So this doesn't really mean Mo is going or he isn't going, but it is just an example of what they're trying to do to make it easier to bring in more players to their top clubs. And of course, Mohamed Salah's name was mentioned in the article. Now, while we're talking about Mohamed Salah, and I suppose we'll throw Endo as well in this conversation, but mainly around Salah, Jurgen Klopp has said that he still hasn't devised a plan or a strategy about what to do when Mohamed Salah departs for the African Cup of Nations after the Newcastle game. As of right now, Jurgen said he hasn't thought about it because basically he did want to make a plan, somebody to get injured, and then that plan have to change. So I think Jurgen's going to have to start putting that plan together very soon. Let me know your thoughts on it. Oh, who would you like to see taking up Mo's position on the right? Szoboszlai and Elliott seem to be the most likely candidates, but I really would like your opinion. Right, my friends, so the next story is about Thiago Alcantara, and don't worry, I'm going to move on to talk about Benfica's Antonio Silva in a while, so don't worry about that one. But coming out of Sport in Spain, who are a Spanish publication, they believe that Liverpool's Thiago Alcantara will be of interest to Barcelona when his contract expires at Liverpool at the end of the season, so I'm not expecting an extension here. He's long been linked to Barcelona, actually, and a potential move back there. I don't know how they do it financially, but of course they wouldn't have to pay a transfer fee to Liverpool because Thiago will indeed be a free agent, and if they so wished, they could sign him on a pre-contract agreement in January. That would of course only come into effect when his Liverpool contract comes to an end. The next story is about Kylian Mbappe, and I'm not really going to be pushing the Liverpool angle on this one too much, just more that we'll have to keep an eye on the situation. So The Athletic have said that Real Madrid are about to make a contract offer to Kylian Mbappe to come and join them at the end of the season when he's a free agent. So like we spoke about with Thiago, Kylian Mbappe can sign a pre-contract agreement with any club outside of France because he's got 6 months left on his deal in January. So they say that there will be an offer coming on the table to Kylian Mbappe, but interestingly, they go on to say that Real Madrid aren't going to hang around. They're going to give Mbappe only until the middle of the month, the middle of January, to decide if he wants to take up the option or the opportunity to go and play at the Santiago Bernabeu, where we all thought he was going to end up. So if he doesn't give in to their demands, or if he doesn't agree by then, are we going to maybe make a little move in from the side? I don't know. I doubt it, but it is an interesting story. And if we've learned anything from Mr. Mbappe recently, it's that he doesn't really like ultimatums. So I don't know if this is going to blow up in Madrid's face or if this is all just a means to an end. But we will keep an eye on the story. And of course, if there's anything more to bring you, we will. So Bobby Firmino. He's not going to be coming back to Liverpool, but he may indeed be coming back to the Premier League. There's a story coming out from TalkSport that say that he's about to leave. I think it's Al Ahly that he's with over in Saudi Arabia. And he's been linked with move back to join Sheffield United in the Premier League with Chris Wilder. He's been linked to Steven Gerrard's club, Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia as well. Gerrard's been very vocal about wanting new signings in there because it's not going too well. In fact, they drew at the bottom of the table side recently in a 1-1 draw at home. So maybe he wants to put the band back together, and Kat Wijnaldum and some other Liverpool players are obviously there, and Henderson, and maybe he wants to bring Bobby in, but it does look like Bobby isn't settled where he is. So this piece goes on to say that the Premier League and Chris Wilder, Turkey, and another move to Saudi Arabia could be on the cards for Bobby. I'd love to know what you guys think. Where would you like to see him end up? I mean, it would be weird seeing him back in the Premier League and playing for Sheffield United, but you know, he still has something to offer in the game, so I totally understand why Sheffield United would be interested. It would just be a weird thing for us. Turkey, I don't know if that appeals to Bobby or not, but it is an interesting story, and I'd love to know where you guys think Mr. Bobby Firmino could well end up. I've done that one already.
So, bit of good news. And again, I am coming on to talk about and finish the video with Thiago Silva, or not Thiago Silva, excuse me, Antonio Silva from Benfica. But story today from Jurgen said that Alexis McAllister should be returning to training today and could indeed be an outside bet to be in the squad for the game against Newcastle. He went on to say if it isn't the game against Newcastle, then it'll certainly be the next game. But I'm starting to get a little bit excited because I was worried with Endo obviously heading off that after the Newcastle game we could be short. But if we have Alexis McAllister back in the squad, that allays some of those fears. And I don't want him rushed back too early, but of course the sooner he is back the better. So a little bit of good news there. Also on Stefan Bajcetic, the manager did give a bit of an injury update. And there's not really any news on this. They don't want to rush him. They said he could train today and then maybe he could be out for a few weeks. So I don't really know the ins and outs of it. But whatever it is, the club are being ultra cautious with it to make sure that they get it right once and for all. So I think it looks like we're going to have to be a little bit patient waiting for Stefan Bajcetic to get back to fitness. And the last story of the day, which is of course the big one of the day, is that Liverpool have reportedly sent scouts to Benfica to watch defensive starlet and somebody I would very much love at Liverpool, Antonio Silva. He's 20 years of age, but the interesting thing here is you're going to have to pay a good chunk of money if you want this kid. Liverpool aren't the only club interested. Real Madrid, after David Alaba's injury, they're apparently looking at him. Arsenal's name has been mentioned and a couple of others, but he's a €100 million or £88 million release clause in his Benfica contract. His teammate João Neves has been speaking about him, and he said, I talk to him every day. Although manager Roger Smith told the press conference, we're in the middle of the season, we have goals with Benfica. Of course, we're not going to let these players leave. We need them, and they don't want to leave. There's no question about that. But the thing is, with the release clause, that's what they're doing here, basically. They're saying, look, we don't want them to leave. No way, we're accepting any bids. But they know that there's a release clause there. So should Real Madrid, Liverpool, or anybody else come in and trigger that release clause, well then there's not much they could do if indeed the player does want to make the move. So €100 million probably sounds out of our price range, but I've got to be honest, of all the defenders that we've been linked to, this is the guy I've always said I would be absolutely over the moon if Liverpool signed him. But I know the owners that we have, and I know that it would be highly unlikely to see them splash out €100 million on another centre-back, albeit maybe we can keep an eye out for Gonzalo Inacio, who's at about €60 million. So that is where we're at for now, my friends, but I will be live tonight if you're watching this video early on Anfield Agenda at 8:30, so I hope you can come along and join me for that, where we'll give you more in-depth reasoning on all of these stories, of course, and answer any questions you guys may have. I want to take another opportunity to thank you for your continued support of the channel. Really does mean a lot to us. We hope 2024 is going to be a big one. We've got some great tech that we're working on in the background at the minute that should be ready to release soon. And of course, just before we finish up, just another reminder, you can get your tickets if you're around the Boston area to see us live on March 22nd. Go to Ticketmaster, check it out at the Foundation Room in the House of Blues, Boston. Anfield Agenda, yours truly over there on March 22nd. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.